Thank you, everybody, for joining us for tonight's competition. Tonight, we have a themed competition that is shot from ground level. Thank you for those who submitted images. I think we have, what, 65-ish, something like that? 62 images. So also a huge thank you to Russ Burden, who's provided great feedback to us in the past. He's judged several of our events. He's also given great presentations to us in that. And as you'll see tonight, the feedback that he provides on the images is really well done in that. So look forward to the commentary and the scoring that he'll be providing throughout the evening. And I know I've learned a lot from both his presentations and his judging. So looking forward to that again. So with that, I'm going to go ahead so that we can get on with our images, and that I want to do a quick introduction of Russ Burden. Mentioned earlier that he's presented for us and judged for us in the past. And thank you for returning and doing this once again. Owner of Russ Burden Photo Safaris, internationally published and has written plenty of photo tips for outdoor photographer website. He runs small group workshops in Tanzania. Multiple time winner of Nature's Best Winland Smith Rice Award. It's also been published in numerous times in Outdoor Photographer. Let's see, his wildlife and scenic images have appeared in calendars published by Self-Realization Fellowship, Kodak, Audubon, Sierra Club, National Wildlife, National Geographic Traveler, and more. Numerous safari photos of his have hung in places, very familiar places, such as Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C., and the Izuku Museum in South Africa. And I know I'm just barely touching the surface there on his accomplishments, but they really are extensive. So again, we're honored to have Russ tonight as our judge. And with that,
Okay, first picture is we're in beginner intermediate digital color.
There you go.
And the first picture is Crafty Magpie.
One thing that I'm a firm believer in is when there's an assigned subject, that the assigned subject is met. And when it is, I will judge it. What I feel is very fair. If it's not, I subtract an automatic point because of the fact that it is an assigned subject and there's a reason why assigned subjects are given. And that's always to get you people to think outside the box, shoot something different, and to try to get a little bit more creative and open up some new doors. So this one looking like it's the top of a fence post. And when I see a top of a fence post, you know, I'm thinking of the fact that you're standing up, and I'm not really seeing the definitive aspect as to why this would be shot from ground level. Not only that, you've got a situation here. Look at all the room you've got up at the top here. You could have raised the camera and gotten the bottom of the feet, which are very important, especially to the magpie. He or she would definitely appreciate the fact that the full toe is given. When you have room up at the top, what happens is people tend to look very, very much at the eye and the head. And when they do so, these parts get ignored. So be cognizant of that. I gave this a 7.
Trash can. And
Okay.
Next picture is Encroaching Croc.
I would love to have seen this shot as a horizontal as opposed to a vertical. When I look down here, I ask myself, what's important about that information that's included in the picture, and what is of significant value in this area that's part of the picture. The photo itself is the croc, and the direction in which it's moving. Not only that, to take these little bright spots, and it's nitpicking, but to learn how to burn those in so that they won't stand out. Your eye tends to go to the brightest part of a picture first, so try to always darken those down. I gave that picture a 7.
Forgotten.
Like the fact that you did get down low for this, so I commend you for that. But what you've done is taken a very static subject and placed it dead center. So I'm questioning creativity. I want to see you guys with your photography get a little bit more creative. Think of what else can be done. Think of how else it could be shot. You know, what else is down here in the foreground? I don't know. I wasn't there. I would have looked for something that may have been a little bit more intriguing. I would have maybe gotten closer to the wheels and shot with a wider angle so that you can get right in on there and really give emphasis to what it is that's going on with this grill. This grill here has got a tremendous amount of potential. You know, you could shoot a whole roll of film. Yeah, I'm dating myself. You could shoot a full card and on just this grill here. So, you know, try to get away from those dead centered, more so than just fulfilling the aspect of what it is you're supposed to do for the assignment. Get outside the box a little bit more. I gave that a 7.
Hold My Spot.
This looks almost as if you were standing or you were up elevated and you're shooting down onto the hat. So I question the ground level on this one. So with that in mind, I automatically took off a point. To me, I do like the lighting. I do like the composition on it, but the fact that it's not shot from ground level is a negative when you have a restricted competition. I gave this one a 7.
Hummingbird at feeder.
Obviously, you met the topic, all of what it is you were supposed to have done as far as what the assigned subject says. You did. The thing is, you know, the most intriguing part of the hummingbird is over here. This is just a tough subject to shoot from ground level. So you did what the subject said, you did what the topic said, but it's the subject that was chosen that makes it tough. Not only that, what I'm really drawn to is the bottom of the hummingbird feeder and the brightness of the cloud as opposed to your primary subject here. I gave this a 7.
In sync.
You definitely did what the assignment said, got down low. I like that. Tails a little close over here on the back horse, but I still like the fact that 99.5% of the horses included. A little tight on the front here, but I commend you for doing what it is that was assigned to you. And I like the fact that there's no merger here at all. There's no overlap, which is good. Had this horse been overlapping this horse, I would have taken away a point. I gave this one an 8. I thought it was one of the stronger pictures that met the subject.
Patio nights.
Definitely fits the topic, and the lighting is very nice. I don't know if that's just a gloss on the concrete. I don't know if you wet the patio down. I don't know if it was raining and you got your belly and clothes totally drenched. And in that case, you get a 12. But if it's just a shiny, no, in all seriousness, the time of day at which you shot at that blue hour is perfect for the lighting that is artificial in the, oops, I keep on forgetting that I can draw here. In the background, that the way it homogenizes so beautifully with the tones that are not too lit naturally in the foregrounds over here. Everything has shadow detail, and the bright highlights have nice detail. 10 on that one.
Quirky duo.
I do like what was going on here with the interaction between the two ducks. That is nice. I just wish that, as I had mentioned in the one with the horses, the way these are overlapping had, you know, I don't, again, I wasn't there. I just wish that there was separation between the heads here so that I could see some background. I don't mind the overlap in the bodies. It's just a hair on the awkward side as to where the merger occurs. And I question why it wasn't cropped a little bit tighter in like that. So with that in mind, I gave it a 9. But really good choice of getting down low for these kinds of subjects. And you probably had to lay in a lot of bird poop too, so good for you.
Ready to strike.
To me, I have an expression that I totally live by, and it was taught to me a long time ago. I adopted it, and I continue to share it. And the expression is the background is equally as important as the subject. Because if you've got the best subject against the background that's obtrusive, or it's gonna compete with the subject itself. The shot of the heron, you've lost a little detail in some of the whites. I'm looking right in over here and it looks like it's kind of void of detail. You've got to watch your exposure. If you don't have your camera set to those blinkies for the highlights, make sure you activate that. And then the fact that you've got the nice spring color of I guess apple blossoms, whatever they are, is beautiful. But for this particular subject, it's just not offsetting it in the way that I would like to see it to lend itself to helping the image itself. The perch, wonderful. The color and your exposure get the picture to suffer just a little bit. I gave an 8. Because it does look like it's shot from somewhat down low.
Okay, red, white, and blue.
Definitely got down low for this. The light, to me, the word photography means to write with light. Photo to write, graphy to write, photo is light, you're writing with light. And by shooting in midday, yeah, you've got the columbines open, yeah, the paintbrush is open, that's nice. The clouds definitely are indicative of that midday, late morning, and it's the time of day makes this picture suffer. This image with some beautiful, nice, warm light on the columbine and the paintbrush would have been fantastic. And then also these clouds would have been different, but this picture is lacking primarily because of the light in which it was shot. And that is, but I did give you a point for the fact that you really met the topic. So I did give it an 8.
Serene encounter.
I like this picture of the puffin when it first came up, and then I noticed one of my pet peeves that when you are photographing a subject, the last point at which the shutter should be pressed is when the subject is past perpendicular. So if I'm having a conversation with Bruce and we're still talking and now you're talking to me and all of a sudden I turn over here. Now Bruce, I'm still talking to Bruce, but how does Bruce feel right now? Do you feel I'm really communicating with you, or do you feel like I'm communicating with you right now?
Yes.
Okay, so now take that and then look away even a little bit further. And now it's like, well, what's going on over there that's even more important than me? We're supposed to be having a conversation. So to me, a subject past perpendicular is one of my little things. And maybe you're just unlucky tonight that you caught me as a judge, but so be it. I'm here and this is the picture that I see. So I've got to judge it that way. And just take it to heart, though. Try to think of you communicating with your subject or your subject communicating with you. But again, you got down low, and I commend you for that. So you can even see here in the angle of the puffin's eye. And be careful about these whites here. You can use masks in Lightroom or in Photoshop. You can use the burn tool and darken this kind of stuff in. I would advise you to learn to master how to do those things. 8.
The weavers.
Got down low, got down on the same level. A lot of people will take a street scene. They're walking down the street. They get a little a little uncomfortable when they're photographing people, so they quick take a picture and walk on. Here, I don't know if you asked the people. If you did, I commend you, but you got engaged with the subjects. So that's good. There's actually some interaction going on with the lady on the right, and it's interesting what the lady on the left is doing. And you do have two separate subjects, but that center pole kind of brings them to connect together. So I like that. And I even like the foot of the one that's on the left over here. That kind of helps. It shows just who she is and what their conditions are, and that's how they walk around. I gave this one a 9.
These boots,
I like what it is that you did with this as far as get down low. I like the fact that this, and this 3 key background elements don't merge with the legs. Whenever I see something in a photo, I want to give this a 10. If I can give it a 9 and 4,900, so it doesn't quite get a 10, but it deserves more than a 9. That's where I am with this. To me, this needs to get addressed. Even in a beginner or an intermediate group, you need to realize when you've got these specular highlights, just how to tone those down. So learn how to do this. And had those been toned down, I would have given this picture a 10. It was so close. It was so close. And the maker's probably saying, "Oh, Russ, don't just pretend you don't see that." And so I did give it a 9.
two worlds, one gaze.
I like this shot a lot. Looks like could even be a younger younger guy over here. I like the head angle. I like the specular highlights in the eye. I like the fact that you've got the full reflection. The light is skimming across from the right across the left. You can tell by the shadow that's over here. And it just it all comes together very, very nicely. Definitely one of the stronger images in the group, and I gave this a 10.
You have two.
And I know I have 2 10s.
This one and the patio lights.
Okay.
You-
Technically, I pretty much know which one I'm gonna do. So technically, I love the patio lights is an excellently done, manufactured, beautiful picture. This is a picture that's tougher to get. When you have wildlife subjects versus subjects that aren't going to go anywhere, if you make a mistake with the patio light shot, you can redo it. This, you're not going to get a chance to redo. Therefore, this gets my vote.
Okay, we're going to go to advanced color. First picture is called Coastal Bloom.
I like what's going on with the single bloom here. A little bit centered, but I do like what it is that's going on, how it goes on up into the primary place on the pier itself. The sky is handled nicely. It's a nice, pleasant, pleasing shot. I'm going to give this a 9.
Down here with the sky at our feet.
The light on this, it's good to take these kinds of subjects in an overcast light, but you can see just how overcast it was. and it imparted a dullish kind of gray light back onto the water lilies themselves. And you can also tell it's a dull gray light because back down on the water, there's no light that's getting reflected back into these shadow areas. So had this been a bright overcast day, you would have had a little bit more light in some of these shadow details. And also some of these brighter highlights, they're starting, you've got detail. So I'm not going to take any points off there, but you're starting to lose within a half a stop, 3/4 of a stop. So, if you could have gotten back at on a different day, different type of light, try to do so. Not only that, but your depth of field, I question the wide open aperture, which was probably part and parcel to the fact that it was so overcast that you had to shoot pretty much wide open. I would love to have seen these lilies fully sharpened, and you would have needed a much smaller aperture in order to do that. So with that in mind, I'm going to go 7 on that one.
Flowing stream.
Nice, peaceful, serene. These waterfall shots are always nice. I love the shutter speed at which it was shot. That's nice. The one aspect is I question kind of where this is placed. If you look here, it's almost dividing that bottom area into equal halves. 1, 2. This is a little bit smaller. Perhaps a little bit more movement to the left would have made this a little bit more of a leading line. Is this as important as what could be a more beautiful leading line here? Again, I'm not there, but based on what it is that I'm seeing, this is how I need to evaluate it. The fact that this area over here doesn't have the impact that this whole area has here, which leads up into this nice, simple, plain background. Good division of just a little bit on the top with all the bottom. I just wish that this wasn't coming in right at that corner spot. I would like to have seen more of this C curve, which would have lent itself more as a leading line. I did give it an 8, though.
Moves on Main Street. Maybell.
Nice capture here so that you've got nice separation here. You do have a merger here, but it's not awkward. This one's getting a little bit on the awkward side, but you did get down low. When you get down into a situation like this, same thing like with that magpie that we saw earlier, try to be careful about including every aspect of an important part of the animal. And you did lose the hoof on this leg over here. This I don't mind, it's tight, but the fact that you lost this one over here, I take off a point for that. But you did get down nice and low, and you were aware of these mergers. I gave this one an 8.
In your face.
I like this. I like this a lot. It's that strong use of the wide angle lens, the exaggerated snout, the eyes. Look at the eyes. The eyes are so aware, and the eyes are making direct eye contact with the photographer. I don't know if the photographer's got a big old tree right on the top of his head or something like that, or her head. If so, that's a great idea. If so, let me know. I'm going to borrow your dog, and it's a nice shot. The one negative is I just wish that this, is it the tail? Is it the tree? I mean, I'm pretty much sure it's a tree, a blob of a tree. But I look at how clean this is and the balance between what's going on over here and over here. It's very heavy over here and too bright over here. So with that in mind, I gave it a 9. It's another one of those 9.5s, but
Indistractable.
I like what's going on with the leopard as far as the placement. You've given the viewer a nice amount of room for the to witness the leopard go through the water. That's nice. Again, I want to see a little bit more of the face. I like what you've done with the background by darkening up the background. I love the spotlighting effect where the light is beautiful just on the subject himself or herself. The head angle is the only aspect that I wish I would have a little bit more contact with to establish a relationship with what it is where I'm looking. I gave it a 9.
Mr. Slithers.
I would crop that. I would crop that. And, if you can, what I always do when I'm working on a picture at home and I'm seeing extra space or just what would be considered empty space, I'll cover that section of the screen with my hand, and then I'll take my hand away. And then I look back down at the screen and I ask myself, what it is that I am now seeing does it have any kind of, what's it adding to the picture? And if the answer is nothing, then I just get out the crop tool and crop it. So what I would do is crop the top and the bottom, and then you'd also accentuate the fact of the snake being a long tubular type of species by making the image a long horizontal. 8 on that one.
Painted Lake.
This is a beautiful spot up by Oxbow Bend, and you found the beautiful foreground of rocks. Certainly got down low. I've taken this kind of picture numerous times myself, and you did get a nice sky. What's keeping me from giving it a 10 is that I would like to have seen you drop some sort of gradient on the sky itself, and maybe just, give it a little hint of magenta, especially to pick up what's going on some of these warmer tone rocks to kind of give it a complement. You've got a lot of cool tones going on right up here, so a lot of blue. The reflection is just good enough to warrant this area being in the image. And I really like what you did using the super wide and your aperture. And obviously your focus point, which is probably somewhere right around over here to cover this depth of field, unless you did it in gradients and stitch them together. Doesn't matter how you achieve that. It's done well. What's keeping me from giving it a 10 is the darkening of the sky and then saturating some of these rocks up just a little bit more to really give it a touch more, hint more warmth. 9.
Poppies reaching for the sky.
Very nice to get down low on these. You've got that classic sky for this type of image. 10. Processed well. It's a nice get down low picture. And whenever you can put red up against blue, very nice color contrast too.
Purple haze.
Needs some cropping here. Here, you can tighten that up a little bit. To me, it's the bee inside this flower. Also, the time at which you chose to photograph the bee, with him on his side, it almost looks like he's napping, and that one, I don't know if it's called a proboscis or whatever, but there's that long triangular piece that comes out of the bee's face there that sucks up the pollen and all, and the nectar. So I want to have seen that. And is it a photograph of the bee, or is it a photograph of the flower? And I can't really distinguish which one it is. And if it is with the bee, I want to see more of a story being told. If it's of the flower, you don't really need the bee. So I gave this one an 8. But you definitely got down low.
Quiet radiance.
Again, more cropping, either a square or a vertical on this. And then I would darken this band in over here somewhat, darken this down even a little bit more, and warm it up a little bit. And bring down that highlight slider just a little bit. I also gave this one an 8.
Rainbow socks and red shoes.
Great idea. Great creativity for the fact that it's an assigned subject, but I don't understand, why this isn't separated from here, why this isn't separated from here. Maybe you thought because it's working in twos that these two and they're overlapping, these two and they're overlapping, these two and they're overlapping, but then this one is kind of out of that harmonious type of aspect. I would like to have seen near, far, near, far, near, nearer, and then a little bit back. It's the composition that I kind of question here, but I gotta reward you for the creativity and what it is you did to meet the subject. So I gave you an 8.
Solitude.
Definitely selective focus in this. I may even know this yucca. These are those classic iconic scenes you get down at White Sands. I wish that it could have been in an area that was a little bit more virgin as far as footprints or these little wind ditches that you get down in White Sands. Also have shot these kinds of things, right on your belly, and they're great subjects to shoot from down low. Time of day, a little bit later or a little bit too early than I would like to have seen. Too early if it was at sunset, too late if it was at sunrise. I commend you for getting down low though, again, and I gave it an 8.
Stand proud, DTC.
This one, it's hard to tell whether this was shot at purely at ground level. I question the fact that this was shot at ground level. It looks to me more like you were standing up, or maybe you were down a little bit, but you may need to grease up those knees a little bit more and get down just a hair lower. I do like what it is that you did. I like the star effect on the lights. That's kind of nice. The time of day. I gave it an 8 because I can't specifically nail you for the fact that you didn't get down to ground level, because I don't know 100%. But I like the photo, so I gave it an 8.
Walk on water momentum.
Okay, nice and sharp on the full wing, which is good. A little busy going on in the foreground water. This is getting picked up in between the legs and what could be grasses. I kind of like what was going on there. It doesn't quite need all of this room to the left of it, and it does need a little bit more room over here to the right. Whenever an animal is in motion, or a person is in motion, or the direction in which the subject is looking, you always want to leave a little bit more room in front as opposed to what's behind. Same thing like that shot of the leopard when it was going through the water. There was all that room, and I made that positive comment. Here, I'd like to see a little bit more room in front of this guy. So I gave it an 8.
Where's the ball?
I do like the creativity here. I wish that the kids were doing I wish that there was something else that could have been going on with the kids. A little bit more action. The idea of getting down here low with the ball, but then, having it out of focus so you can use that title of "Where's the Ball?" because it is out of focus and maybe they're not seeing it. I don't know if I'm looking into the title too introspectively or what, but I just wish that the kids weren't so static in the background. Had there been something a little bit more creative, could have been one of the top pictures. But the way it is, as such, I gave it an 8.
Whispers among sisters.
Great sky, but time of day, the 3 gossips over here. Again, too late in the morning or too early in the afternoon. And I know this particular area. The foreground that goes on down in below over here is more intriguing than if you were to cut it off. But you did get down low, and you got that emphasis that brings you up to the sky, which is good. So I do want to commend you for meeting the guideline of the assigned subject. And I gave it an 8. I sound like a broken record with a lot of these 8s, but.
All right, we're going to the exclusive pro. This is drama queen.
Nice, good use of studio light, if that's what it is that you did. If you're using stage lighting, you used good stage lighting. The pose is good. You can see that, you've got this down pat, even to the point where, you tell the model to extend the fingers rather than just have them there. This complements the subject nicely. I gave it a 9.
quiet corner of knowledge.
I like the symmetry that goes on here. As I look to the right, there's a very nice balance. As I look to the left, there's a very nice balance. The statue and what's going on over here with could be a desk or just it looks kind of desk-like. The big globe in the back and all. It's a very nice recording of the room itself. I can't give it a 10 only because of the fact that I'm looking at the art of the room, and that's more intriguing than what it is that's going on that's done creatively with the photograph itself. It's the room itself that to me is the art aspect. It's a beautiful capture, a beautiful recording of the room, but it's like I said, it's more the room that makes this to me an intriguing image. I gave this one an 8. I think there was only 110 in the advanced digital too.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to go to the beginner, intermediate, black and white.
And let me say, I am so happy to see a club promote black and white. I mean, to me, that's where it all started. When I took my first college darkroom class, I made my first 8x10. I still have it. It was a photogram. If for those people that worked in the darkroom, it was amazing. Once I did that, I was hooked. So the fact that you are promoting black and white, I love that aspect.
Our first picture in beginner, intermediate, black and white is churn.
I like what's going on with all of the churning that's going on here. A little heavy on the foreground rock. Not only that, to say that this was shot at ground level, your camera gear would have been floating down the stream here, because this is definitely shot from up above, shooting down onto it. So you know, I don't know what to do in that aspect. If it's very obvious, I mean, should I just score it accordingly, or okay? I will give it a 7 then, because I do like the picture.
Contemplating the wild.
You needed to get a little closer to the lion. No, I'm just kidding. Nice that, you know, you were in your safari vehicle. You did get down low. It works well. I like the contemplative look on the lion's face. I like his gaze. You could see that there's a thought process going on with those eyes. The eyes are very expressive. And not only that, but what I'm seeing over here, really centering your attention on the lion and then showing somewhat of the environment. I gave this one a 10.
Dining on the lakeshore.
You know what? Hold on a second. Sorry, to the maker. That previous one was a 9. Yeah, my mistake. I went down to the wrong group, and I'm looking to see titles. Okay, dining on the lake shores. The blacks and the whites and the background, they're very much the same as far as the amount of light that's on the moose relative to the amount of light that's up on the background. As a matter of fact, the background has more highlights than the moose itself. And with that in mind, I'm going back and forth between all of the nice information that's going on over here relative to all of what's on the moose. The moose is more medium tones and darks, whereas the background is darks, lights, and medium tones. And they're kind of competing for each other. With that in mind, I gave it a 7.
Don't bother me.
Tough lighting situation in this case and tough background. When you've got the owl up against a very overcast sky and you want to bring up any detail on the owl, your background's going to get blown out. One thing when I was running my safaris is I taught people a lot how to use what they call a mag mod, where you're using flash on subjects that are far away, and how to throw light onto a subject in this case. And it would have helped immensely. If you're not familiar with it, it's something that you may want to dive into a little bit as far as studying it and learning how to use flash in the outdoors. I gave this a 7.
I can do what mom does.
I like the harmony, what's going on here. I like the harmony of what's going on here, the mimicking of mom and the baby, and the background is enough out of focus to bring the 2 elephants to make them the primary subjects. I gave it a 9.
I have a garden hat.
I like this one a lot. And you know what really makes this? I mean, you've got the garden hat, which is kind of cool. But then when I noticed the complimentary pad that was over here, I said, now that is a hippo that knows how to dress. And that is one classy dressing hippo. I mean, you know, how do you argue with a hippo that knows how to dress? It's a that I gave this one a 10.
Little buckaroo.
It's a very nice rendering of the barn, classic subject for black and white. I like the foreground. I'd like to see it toned down just a little bit more because it's a little bit too bright in comparison to what's going on with the amount of light that's falling, that you're allowing to fall on the barn itself. And then the sky and the clouds are also brighter. What you should really be emphasizing is the barn. A 8.
Ollie and friend.
It's a cute shot of your pet with his or her favorite animal and all. You did get down low. I commend you for that. I gave you an 8.
Sand cliffs in Lake Michigan.
Nice with the layering and abstracts. So you've got layer 1, layer 2 separated by this line here, layer 3 offset by this, and then what's going on up here in the sky with the dune grass. It's good, but I want to see something in here that's going to be a little bit more creative. I gave it an 8.
Tee it up.
Creative shot, even though it's somewhat centered. I like what you did. I see that you darkened the sky down somewhat. I commend you for that. You definitely got down low. And even though the golf ball is small, it's obviously the focus of attention and hence the primary subject. And when it takes up, maybe 6-7% of the picture, and you can emphasize it that much, you've done a creative job. I gave this a 9.
Trail Ridge Moose Track.
I like the sky. I like the fact that you've got the moose offset against the brighter parts of the sky. I just wish that there wasn't quite as much separation. I know that that's the way it was, but you also chose to enter the picture with it as such, so I have to judge it as such. In this case, you're using all of this as negative space, and because it's shot from ground level, it works, it meets the subject. These guys, especially him, he needs to be not so tight in there. But I do like what it is that you did, 8.
Twist and turn.
Pretty cool as to what it is that the guy is doing. I do like the water coming on off of the wall over here. It's a well-handled black and white image, and it's definitely shot from down low. 9.
We've
This
got a
one?
tiebreaker on the blood vote, so we need help here.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Between this one and I think it's the lion. The second one, contemplating a while.
Contemplating the wild, this one and
This one
contemplating.
is the lion.
The lion's a tougher shot to get. And I love the guy's look on the face here is very appropriate for the subject, but you can tell him this is the look that I want, the look that was on that lion's face of just being in that dream state. It's tough to communicate with the lion to tell him to do that. So I'll go with the lion.
Okay, we're going to advance black and white. First one is big eyes.
I like the angle. I like the reflection. What's wrong with the picture? It's not mine. If it was my picture, okay. No, it's a 10. Nice. Very nice shot.
Born a Rambler Man.
This brings me back to the day. I do like the fact that you got down low, used that wide angle lens to come in tight, really emphasize the Rambler. If it's still running today, I give you a 12, but the picture gets a 9.
Browsing the menu.
The moment is good because you can see that, there's kind of a choice going on here and which one I could choose, but I would like to see what's going on after one is grabbed and the shaking and as opposed to well, I'm just gonna wait. It's like you're waiting and you took a picture, but I want to see what happens after one of those crabs is selected. 8.
Coastal Guardian.
This picture, it's to me, I find this picture just, oh gosh. I wish you've got a bright spot that's going on over here. If only there was any kind of light, although it would be backlit. But what you want here with this beautiful way that you handled your foreground and this beautiful stormy sky, if there was just one little shaft of light that was popping out the lighthouse here, or what you do is you get out your dodge tool, you can't brighten your highlights because then you'd blow this area out and blow this area out. But these two subjects here, the keeper's house and the lighthouse itself, need to be brought out in whites a lot more. I gave you a 9 because I really like what you did with everything else, but oh, so close, so close.
Echoes of the Galaxy.
Well thought of, well planned out. You got an evening where you were dead calm, so that's nice. No blown out highlights. Even got a little bit of detail in here in your foregrounds based on your exposure. Done well, 10.
Forged in steel and stone.
I like your creativity here, especially given the topic. You got down nice and low. Look at how you blended this in right over here to a point where it's not merging with anything important on the narrow gauge itself. And I commend that. Given the situation, you handled this beautifully, beautifully precisely in every way as far as composition and optimization of the picture. I gave this a 10.
Illuminated streams.
Want to see this taken to that next level. And the fact that you maybe you did do this and you chose to do the one where you froze the water. I would love to have seen this with a slow water, with a very slow shutter speed, and get that cotton candy effect, that silky effect of the water showing and emphasizing the movement. I gave it an 8.
I'm in a bad mood.
It pretty much a recording of what it is that you know your subject is doing here. It's nice light. It's a good photo converted into black and white. The blacks and the whites are nice, but I want to see the subject doing something. I want to see the subject involved in more than just a portrait, especially when you're doing black and white. I gave this an 8.
Jesus Saves Little Havana.
If you come over here and well, let's say, cancel this line. If we come over to here and I ask you what's intriguing about this area, to me, this is very much a vertical of emphasizing the sign on the cross, leaving this in because it's an important architectural part of the subject. The sun star is good, and the fact that you're down low looking up is nice. I just wonder what's going on over here and why that's left in. I gave it an 8.
Muddy Ride.
A little bright going on over here, bright going on over here, over here. The subjects in the background. If you are using Lightroom, you can darken that down with masks. It's a little bit more finesse. I prefer to bring this right into Photoshop, use the burn tool, choose highlights, use the burn tool, choose midtones, darken that down, darken down these bright advertisements that are being used at the rodeo, and make the guy really prominent, make the horse's face really prominent. You don't need the rest to be as prominent as they are. 8.
Sacred Reflection.
Contrast it's a tough situation. You got a sun in here with an almost blank sky going on in the rest of the picture. Yeah, you were able to maintain some detail in this, but overall, it just doesn't have that pop of a classically rendered black and white where you've got an interesting sky. Also, I would like to see some detail brought out here in the foreground, because this whole area has gone very dark and you've lost a lot of the shadow details. I gave this one a 7.
Someone's Down Below.
These guys are a hoot to photograph. Sorry. Sometimes you just got to try. They're really kind of cool, when they do the movement with the heads and all. Obviously, he or she is observant. She's over here or he's over here by by their burrow. I want to see the grasshopper. I want to see the little babies' heads popping up over here. It's it's a nice recording of what it is that this guy was doing at the time, but I want it brought to that next level so that it can become more of a competitive image. 7 on that one.
Stop it, you're getting me wet.
It's a good moment that's caught. I do like what's going on with the water that's kicked up in the background. Your blacks in here are well handled. Your the whites that are in the lighter bird are well handled. They still maintain detail. It's a nice moment. I gave it a 9.
The big engine that could.
Great angle, again, getting down low, doing what it is you're supposed to have done for the subject. The wind was blowing in the perfect direction so that the flag is filling this little void, which is good. But your foreground here, being so out of focus, it's distracting to me. I don't want to see that. Plus, I would like to have seen a little bit more drama and texture brought out in the sky. It looks like it has some potential to, if you come up and really lighten up the highlights and super darken the shadows, this sky looks like it's got potential to bring out a little bit more drama. I gave it an 8.
This way, please.
Breaks all the rules, but does it in a way that is handled extremely positively. You've got a line that goes dead center down the middle, but it's very geometric. And it matches the geometry that's going on over here. It matches the geometry that's going on over here. And it all leads back into what reminds me of what could be Chinatown back where I grew up. But I know it's not it, but it just reminds me of it. I like this shot. It's a 9.
Time for Monty Potty.
If this was darkened down, I would give this a 10. The fact that you didn't, if I have to point it out, I can't give it a full high score. I do love what it is that's going on with 95% of the picture, but this needs to get darkened down. If cover this with your hand and imagine that, or clone in some of the fur of the bear into that area. It's a great shot, but I do need to make a negative comment. And if I need to make a negative comment, philosophically, I can't give it a top score, but it's a 9.5. 9.
Upward and onward.
Kind of that classic cliche when you get the buildings and you look up with the wide angle lens from down at street level. You did take this from a low angle. This sky definitely needs to be dramatized with some optimization and some work in Photoshop or but some potential in Lightroom too. I gave it an 8.
When Rail was Royal.
I do like contrast between the white and the black is great because you've got detail in your deepest shadows and you've got detail in your bright whites. This, again, it's just the irony that 2 pictures with just these little sections where I got to say something negative. This needs to be darkened down to just about mid-tone level, and then you'd have beautiful whites, you'd have beautiful blacks, you've got nice mid-tones going on here, You've got nice midtones going on here. And I love what you've done to give it that effect of the motion. Yeah, it almost looks like you've got motion going on in the wheel too. But whatever it is that was done down here to give it that effect, I commend you for it. I just wish that had the details. So I'm gonna go 9 on that one too.
Okay, we have 3 tens.
I know.
Do you need to see the pictures?
Big eyes, echoes of the galaxy forging. You know what? Just real quick. I think I know which one I'm gonna
think it's-
go. Okay,
That's one. And then, what was the other one? The frog.
the
Oh,
frog,
I did
yeah.
get the frog. I did. like the frog.
This one, it is repeatable. So it's between the frog and I got the frog and the creativity of the train. Can I just see the train real quick, one more time? Wow,
You want me to go get the frog or?
please, because I wanted just to discern whether or not the shadow detail was too blocked up. Because I remember saying that to myself, that there was a lot of darks, because that's perfectly
turn on?
optimized. I'm gonna go the train, because the darks on this are a little on the dark side.
Another tiebreaker?
I need, stop if you're getting me wet, and then this way, so both toward the end.
I remember the stop it, you're getting me wet, that's a two
This one?
birds, yeah.
Vertical.
Oh,
This
The-
way, please.
this-
you know what, for the seeing, I'm gonna go this way, please. Oh, hey.
Oops.
Give them both sides and we can roll out.
You can Give any you want.
Very creative, very nicely done with the black and white. The beautiful, I like the fact that everything stands out so much against the void of the white background, and the rope is nice. A little tight on the heels, 9. And I gave this a 10 because of the moment that's caught here is just, it's great.
So thank you again, everybody, for great images tonight.
Good. I mean, I try to make it educational, you know, that's always my thinking, and